This is as close as you can come, I would say.
I tell you, Fox 2 really held one under their hat. They were on this story in March, and they actually took linoleum off the floor of this house in Detroit where Hoffa was supposedly shot and tested it for blood.
Yeah, and this was after the linoleum was added to the floor because so when the blood would hit, you know what I mean? So that they could then remove the linoleum and the blood with it. So they actually put that floor down.
But then they didn't remove all the linoleum, apparently, because Fox 2 got a couple pieces.
Yeah, underneath that.
How did they sit on this story? I'm shocked.
I don't know. And then now, of course, this book is coming out. I heard you paint houses, which is fascinating, isn't it?
What a term.
Yeah, that it's a reference to the blood that gets on the walls and the floors when people are shot in houses.
Right. So if you paint houses, you are
a hitman.
Yeah, you're a hitman.
Yeah, you're a hitman. And the only thing that this extensive article, the only issue, really, it seems in the end, is whether this, I don't know how you pronounce his name exactly, whether Sheeran shot him or they believe it's pretty doggone clear he was there. But as to who exactly pulled the trigger, was it him or Buffalino? And a lot of people believe it was Buffalino who actually did the shooting. But that's a little up in the air. And these people, this Buffalino just died Wednesday of complications from lymphoma, 2 days after a free press interview.
Isn't that a different Buffalino?
Could be.
Could be.
No, that's William Buffalino II, the Clinton Township criminal attorney. Yeah. This thing is absolutely, I can't get over this thing. This seems to be the house, man.
Yeah, there is blood in the floorboards.
Sure is.
And
they're doing DNA testing.
I think the one thing that we've learned that's for certain, well, not for certain, but it seems to be somewhat reliable or relatively reliable, and the part of the story too that people have been forever baffled about, and that's his foster son Chucky O'Brien picked him up that day at the Maucus Red Fox, and people felt Chucky O'Brien was somehow involved in this murder, and it sounds like he wasn't.
Yeah, in fact,
sounds like he was an innocent victim in this.
Yeah, they keep saying like how bad. Sheeran said that O'Brien had no first-hand knowledge of what happened to Hoffa, and he always felt sorry for Chucky in this whole thing, and he still does. And if anybody deserves to be forgiven, it's him. And I guess O'Brien has repeatedly denied any involvement in Hoffa's disappearance.
Oh, he's always denied it, but no one believed him.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think he even passed a lie detector test at one point. But there were, Hoffa's, there was a debate, was he in Chucky's car? Well, they found a hair of Hoffa in the car, but I think he'd been in the car before that. But the way this went down is truly amazing. What a view inside the mob.
Yeah.
You've got your hitman in Pennsylvania, and you got to get him to Detroit. And you've got to have an alibi and all that business, and it's got to happen fast. In fact, they wanted the operation to take an hour, which it did.
Yeah,
that's how good these guys are.
Yeah.
And this Sheeran, who, by the way, was absolved by a priest in 1991 in Philadelphia. Nice priest, Don't be afraid to let somebody know you got a murder in your church.
Yeah. Maybe the priest was in the mob.
He's as unpredictable as a cobra and 3 times as crazy.
Sheeran said Buffalino had him stop. He was going from Pennsylvania to Detroit for a wedding, and he had him stop at an airport in Port Clinton, Ohio. During the drive, he's going to this wedding of Teamster lawyer William Buffalino Sr., who is no relation to Russell Buffalino, who's involved in all this. Their wives and Buffalino's sister-in-law accompanied them on the trip. While the women were at the restaurant at the airport and Buffalino waited, Sheeran said he was flown on a small plane to an airport in Pontiac. Now, this would be a pretty quick flight from Ohio.
Yeah.
30 minutes.
Yeah, Pontiac Airport, eh?
There you go.
Hell, I was flying out of there then all the time. I think I saw it. Did you
see Sheeran flying in?
I remember seeing a gray car and a little Cherokee taxi up, and he got out.
You are lying.
I think I saw it.
I think I did too when I was flying.
I was doing a soft field landing right around that time. And I know, it's crazy.
I had a seaplane. I was taking it down one of those lakes.
I was right at Pontiac Airport. I was right there. I mean, mid-'70s, Pontiac Piper was there right up Airport Road.
I had my seaplane.
All that stuff's out of business then. That's incredible. But anyway, go ahead.
While the women were at the restaurant, Buffalino waited at the airport. Sheeran said he was flown on a small plane to an airport in Pontiac. After landing, he got in a dusty gray Ford that was waiting in the parking lot, drove to a house in northwest Detroit using directions provided by Buffalino. He parked the Ford in the driveway on Beaverland. That's the street. Sheeran implied in the book that, I got to get this book. It's out today.
Oh, I know it. Yeah.
Sheeran implied in the book that the Andretta brothers were in the house with Sal Bruguglio.
And actually the brothers, right?
When he walked in. The brothers were there to clean up the blood and they're like... the
Wolfman.
Yeah, Wolfman.
Yeah.
The brothers were to clean up the blood and had spread linoleum in the vestibule. He said Hoffa's foster son, Chucky O'Brien, arrived a short time later and picked up Sheeran and Bruguglio. O'Brien drove them to the Red Fox to pick up Hoffa. Sheeran said Bruguglio was there to keep an eye on him. When they arrived at the Red Fox around 2:45, Sheeran said Hoffa was angry. He'd been kept waiting. Sheeran said Hoffa was... Because he'd gone there to meet Tony Pro and... who was it?
This...
Giacalone,
yeah. And Provenzi, I don't know.
Provenzano. Tony Pro.
Okay. Yeah, those two guys. He expected them to be there.
So Hoffa's PO'd, and Sheeran said Hoffa had asked him to be at the meeting as protection. Nice.
Yeah.
Although Hoffa questioned why Giacalone and Provenzano hadn't picked him up personally, Sheeran said Hoffa got into the car because he trusted Sheeran and believed he'd be driven to a meeting with Provenzano, Giacalone, and Russell Buffalino.
Yeah, and I guess they were friends, That's just it.
Well, they were friends, but Hoffa had been railing about getting the mob out of the Teamsters pension fund.
Exactly.
And they were tired of hearing that.
Yep.
They did not want to hear that. They didn't want that to happen, but they were tired of hearing it more than anything.
Yeah, that's what they said was the motive for it.
After arriving at the house on Beaverland, Sheeran said he and Hoffa got out of the car and walked in as O'Brien and Bruguglio drove away. When Jimmy saw that the house was empty, that nobody came out of any of the rooms to greet him, he knew right away what it was.
Isn't that something?
Does that remind anybody of a scene in a movie?
Wow.
Goodfellas?
Goodfellas.
Exactly like Goodfellas.
Exactly when, what's his name? Pesci walks in, and he's like, oh, no! Because he thinks he's going to be made, and he walks in, and there's nothing in the room. The room's been cleared of furniture. They probably laid linoleum down in that scene. I didn't even notice.
Yep.
But next thing you know, it's boom! And that pool of blood, and down he goes. Wow, what a scene that was, too. I have to admit, I was actually sad in that scene. And yet, here's this murderer being murdered. I don't know why in the world I'd be sad. Yeah. But, after seeing him at dinner with his mom, when they said they hit the deer, when they had that living, almost dead body in the trunk.
Yeah, I remember that.
His mom was so nice and just, I don't know, it was just sad. I pictured her being bummed. Anyway, so when Jimmy saw the houses, so Hoffa actually knew for a couple seconds that he was going down.
It's interesting, too, they said, he had said that if Jimmy had his gun with him, he would have certainly gone for it.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, right in that moment.
Jimmy was a fighter. He turned fast, still thinking we were together on this thing, so he still thinks Sheeran is there to help him.
Exactly. And right down to the fact that if Sheeran had a gun and Hoffa were to see it, he wouldn't think anything of it. He would think he had his gun drawn because he was sensing what he was sensing.
Jimmy bumped into me hard. If he saw the piece in my hand, he had to think I had it out to protect him. He took a quick step to go around me and get to the door. He reached for the knob, and Jimmy Hoffa got shot twice at a decent range. He says he got shot. He doesn't specifically take credit for it, but both authors of this book, that this is his way of saying he killed him.
Right, because they said Sheeran stopped short in the book of saying he pulled the trigger because he didn't want to be charged with murder, Brandt told the Free Press in a recent interview.
He says they shot him twice at a decent range, not too close, or the paint splatters back at you. In the back of the head, behind his right ear. And then he says, my friend didn't suffer.
Yikes.
Why do you say something like that?
No, I know.
Come on.
I know.
He's dead. Sheeran said he glanced down the hall to make sure nobody would try to kill him, then drove the Ford he parked in the driveway back to Pontiac. He then flies back to Port Clinton, where his wife and sister-in-law are having a meal with Buffalino.
Isn't that something?
Can you believe that?
Yep. Yeah.
Now, wouldn't you think they'd be going, wow, that was a long bathroom break. Where the hell have you been?
I know it. Well, unless they're just used to weird things like that.
The planners had timed the operation in Detroit to take an hour from start to finish, Sheeran said. He said Russell Buffalino told him afterwards that Hoffa's body was taken to a trash incinerator or a funeral home and burned.
Weird.
Now, what funeral home? Well,
some mob-controlled funeral home.
You got it.
They probably use that place all the time.
He said O'Brien, Hoffa's foster son, was an innocent bystander. All he knew was that he was taking us back to pick up Jimmy, Sheeran said in the book, adding that O'Brien had no first-hand knowledge of what happened. I always felt sorry for Chucky in this whole thing, and I still do. O'Brien, who's repeatedly denied any involvement in Hoffa's disappearance, told the Free Press on Thursday that Sheeran concocted the story to secure his place in history. He declined to discuss Sheeran's claim that he drove. See, nobody wants the truth to be known about this. Nobody wants... They just want it to remain a confusing issue. Meanwhile, the house was owned by this substitute teacher who taught into her 80s.
Yep, that lady.
She had some boarders over time, and some of the neighbors at that time used to say, hey, do you know that renter of that place is a mob guy? I mean, there was rumors floating around at the time that it was rented by a mob dude. So, now, back in 75 when the investigation was taking place, isn't it fascinating that Sheeran invoked the Fifth Amendment?
Mm-hmm.
He was in front of a grand jury in Detroit, and he took the Fifth. He said in the 90s he knew who killed Hoffa but denied personal involvement. He blamed the Nixon administration and Vietnam mercenaries. Sheeran's former agent and manager, Harry J. Katz, told a reporter in March that Sheeran confided in 96 that he shot Hoffa in a car and drove him somewhere to dispose of the body. Late July, acting on a tip from a prison inmate, Dave Gorsica and Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard went to Bay City on a fruitless dig for a briefcase said to contain a syringe that was used to poison Hoffa.
Isn't that weird? I mean, we talk to Gorsica all the time, and just to know at one point there he is up there looking for a briefcase.
Dave smiling away, and meanwhile in the back of his recesses of his mind, he's
going for
contains that knowledge that he was out chasing a briefcase with a syringe in it.
I know. When I read that, I was like, yeah, you son of a gun.
Yeah, you poker face, Gorsica.
Come on, give us a call on that stuff, will you?
The owners of the home, Rick and Helen Wilson, bought the house in '89. They had no idea until Fox News contacted them earlier this year that a crime may have been committed. It sounds to me like they're getting off a little bit on this whole thing. They got a website already.
Yeah, that big black dude, he's got this website, and it's going to have a virtual tour of the house, which is great. You know that thing where you can swing the camera all the way around?
Yeah.
It's awesome. And thank God,
and www.hoffastruelaststand.com.
Yeah, and also the fact that that years ago...
Hey, let's go on the virtual tour.
Yeah, if it's up and running.
Hey, Mark, can you pull up the virtual tour?
He said, because he says it will contain a virtual tour of the home. I don't know if it's done yet. I doubt it's done yet, but we could check.
Said he's created a website, yeah.
But
let's look at the website. It's
yeah.
Yep. There's dashes. Yeah.
Yeah. Hoffa's _true_last_stand. HOFFAS. But they said too that years ago, people in that house, they had sanded the floors, but fortunately...
Every room except for that room and the
front hallway.
Vestibule.
Yep, that vestibule and that front hallway. Isn't that... I mean, what's the chance of that?
The site is under construction and coming soon. And it's in different languages!
Just fascinating.
How did Sheeran feel about betraying Hoffa? If you want to know what I felt sitting in that plane, I'm sorry to admit, but back then I felt nothing. It wasn't like I was heading into battle. The decision was made to paint the house, shoot him, and that was that. Sure, I don't feel good about it now. I'm in my 80s. Back then, you start feeling too much, and no matter how much nerve you have, the nervous tension builds up in you and you get confused. Maybe even act stupid. The sad part of it is that the whole matter could have been stopped by Jimmy anytime he wanted, but he kept sailing into the storm. He could have sunk a lot of people in the same boat with him if he kept going in that direction. We all told him what it is. He thought he was untouchable. Some people are like that, but everybody bleeds. I didn't sleep at all that night at Howard Johnson's pondering these things, but I always came up with the same answer. If they decided not to use me in the thing, Jimmy would have been just as dead, no doubt in my mind. I'd have been dead along with him. They even told me that later on.
Yeah,
so
isn't
that's
that interesting?
Typical rationale. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I might as well.
Yeah. And this thing that, let's see, Bergoglio, that Hoffa was killed by him. That's Moldia, who wrote a book about Hoffa, who's read Sheeran's biography. He still thinks Hoffa was killed by Bergoglio, not Sheeran. But he said he believes Sheeran witnessed the crime because of the details he provided for the book. He said the book provides important information that he thinks could help investigators. G. Robert Blakely, a Notre Dame University law professor, former Justice Department lawyer, investigated Hoffa for labor racketeering in the 60s, expressed doubts about Sheeran's biography. He thinks that he witnessed Hoffa's killing, saying, I think it was a Judas goat. The question is whether he was also the hitter. Boy, if he was a Judas goat, wow.
313-298-WRAF. Anybody wants to add anything to this?
Isn't this fascinating?
Yeah, it's very interesting. It sounds to me about as close to the truth as anything I've ever heard.
Oh, absolutely. And it was really cool when Fox had the cameras out there. Couldn't believe it. Trish and I were watching TV, and all of a sudden, there were the cameras down on the floors. They're taking these pieces away.
How about that?
Oh, my God, was that amazing.
Hey, John.
Hey, guys, what's going on?
Hey. How you doing?
Not too bad. I think you guys are buying this story a little too easily.
Really?
This guy's a mobster. He's been doing this stuff for 25 years or whatever. He's changed his story twice already. You think he's going to go into a house in Northwest Detroit and just pop some guy and no one's going to hear it in the neighborhood?
I think when we get the blood, when they test the blood from the floorboard and from the, they got...
That's going to tell the story because
they have linoleum, too.
Yeah.
He's just trying to write his own page in the history books, really, and make some money for his family.
I don't know. What good does that do him to say he murdered somebody?
Well, I don't know, but...
There's a lot of people really...
the book's
important people really...
The book more than likely will probably sell regardless.
Well, I think he's just trying to sell a book. Honest to God, you can't believe every word this guy says.
Well, he has said he killed him before. Why would he take the fifth back in 75? Wouldn't you want to separate yourself from this? He was a young man then.
I suppose, but... I mean, if you're going to kill someone in Northwest Detroit, those houses are right next door to each other. How could no one hear that?
Well, how do you know
I'm
he didn't
sure
have
they have ways of...
They probably got a silencer.
Sure.
Haven't you ever seen any movies?
Yeah, they have silencers on those guns. You know
Go to the movies one time.
Yeah.
Why don't you mix in a movie in your life?
Like you guys said, sounds just like the Goodfellas, They pop some guy. Sounds just like a movie.
Yeah, just like a movie. Well, movies are based on reality. That's why they do. That's why movies are so realistic, because they do a good job of copying reality. Stories like this.
Yeah.
Maybe you should go to one.
You see, it's a full circle there. There's no way out. Just give up.
Be a little more skeptical. I don't know if you can believe every word this guy says.
Well, listen, we'll see.
I didn't say
I'm DNA right now.
Exactly certain of it. I've heard a lot of stories about Hoffa. I think this is not a bad one. We've heard repeatedly that he was. Well, I hadn't heard that he was cremated at a funeral home before. I heard he was taken to a. Let's see, what was it? Was that a waste incinerator or something?
Yeah. The incinerator. It's off of 96 in Detroit. I heard that.
Yeah. Well, you sound pretty sure of yourself. You ought to be a little more skeptical. Hey, Jason.
Just give up.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, man.
Hey, last year, my buddy did a research paper on the mob. And a lot of times what they do is they bury the body. They'll put two bodies in a casket. They'll put a body in the bottom, and then, they'll wait for someone to die.
Oh.
Put another one on top, and then they'll bury two bodies in a casket.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my God.
A bummer to be the guy in the bottom.
Right.
You're not kidding.
Yeah. Drag.
Not even burning the bodies, but, just burying two at a time.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you think, wouldn't it make more sense to incinerate him or to cremate him?
Oh, most definitely. Oh, of course it would.
Just throw him in Lake St. Clair and be done with it. You got a body and bones around him, you got a problem.
Yeah, you have to get rid of that body completely, burn that thing up. But there are people, they say that there's some former FBI agents who are skeptical about this. But they also say that they find it very interesting.
His story has made some movements. But, if you had killed Jimmy Hoffa and you were alive and you expected to be alive for any length of time, why would you come out with his story, or why would you cough it up? Here the guy knows he's dying. I think a deathbed confession makes a lot more sense than a guy that's got 10, 20, 30 years to live and something he says. I'm much more inclined to believe a guy that's dying.
No question about it.
Because as selfish as these guys are, I don't even see why selling books is that exciting to them. If you're about to die, who cares if you sell books?
It doesn't matter. It's just it would just be a thing as if they wanted to go down in history. It would only be if it's some type of ego and they want to be the big star and paint themselves as the hitman or what have you.
That certainly is a possibility, because he doesn't seem... Although he does get absolution from a priest in 91. That's kind of strange. I can't imagine even asking a priest for... it's so odd. First of all, you'd be worried the guy would talk.
Sure. Well... I don't know.
But he doesn't seem like he's carrying any guilt about it. So maybe he's trying to sell books. Maybe that's the most important thing.
Well, you never know. This may be one of these things where it's close to the truth, but not exactly the truth. But the information is really... And I wonder how long it's going to take to get this DNA tested.
Yeah, let's go already.
I know. Come on. Let's put a rush on that order, will you?